I am Sheri. I am an intuitive business astrologer and strategist. I really enjoy working with seasoned entrepreneurs to help them grow their business, really focused on creating that clarity, timing, and strategy that really aligns with how they're actually meant to work and do their work in the world. Work with Mindi, I was really at a place in my business where I really needed to step into a different identity than I had before. And I knew that my next level of growth was going to come from the 5 inches between my ears and really not from another strategy, another tactic, but really deep from within. And I was looking for a supportive container that could give me that guidance for a place to land to find me again, like the most authentic version of me going forward, so that I was building my business from that place in this next level of evolution. Before I started working with Mindi, I was really looking at success from the outside. So a bit of comparisonitis. I can be, or I have formerly had an identity of that perfectionist need to do all the things. And I knew that was not going to take me to the next place because the answers really needed to come from within, not without. I've taken all the courses, done all the things, followed all the strategies, and what I know to be true for myself and even in my own work, it's that it really has to be anchored within and within an identity of self that can expand into that. And so I needed to really reframe what success was going to look like and to create a new vivid image of that success for myself that was really anchored in who I am, not in what other people think or what I thought other people would want from me or guide me to. As I was considering, where I was headed in my business and looking to what was next, I knew that the way I was thinking about myself and my business were rooted in the past. And to be able to figure out what next level success looked like was something that I needed an outside perspective for. Because when we have one way of doing things or thinking about things or following a certain path, that requires some disruption to really find that next piece. And so I knew that I needed to disrupt the way I thought about success, the way I approached it, and the way that I tuned into it. And I think that was really a powerful piece for me, has been working with Mindi to tune in to the way I choose to be, feel, and experience my life and my business, which is something I've always talked about. And we're always better at helping others than helping ourselves. And so it was really being able to be in a safe space to let those beliefs come forward and be reframed, revised, rewired so that I can anchor in a new identity and new beliefs, which I know I would not have been able to do on my own. Really was choosing not to be available for was playing small. And really, the choice was to just really step into my full expression of who I am. And I had a friend of mine I worked with named me the Unapologetic Alchemist. And so as I was stepping into this work, that's the identity that I really wanted to shift into. In the past, had been a people pleaser and wanting to keep the peace, and which is fine. I still want to have quality relationships that are fair and flow. And in my business, I really wanted to choose to be showing up as that unapologetic alchemist and no longer just be worrying about what other people thought, really standing in my values, standing in my leadership. And that was something that I was really committed to. What really made working with Mindi feel different than anything else I had done before. And I had done a lot of things in my past, done a lot of work on beliefs and, you know, rewiring the way I think about things. But Mindi has this amazing gift to see you so clearly, to get to the root of things without all of the necessary, I'll call it fluff, but it's really not fluff. I mean, we all have our story. And working with Mindi, I've really felt seen and held in a way that now it's almost my brain and my body must just expect, as she asks the question, that I can pull out that piece that's ready to come forward, that's ready to shift, because I know I'm in a safe space. I know I'm being held. And most importantly, for me, that core wounding of not be feeling seen or not feeling like enough, to be with someone who sees you, who believes in you, who says you're more than enough, really created that safe container for me to step into what's next and feel good about trying on new identities, new ways of thinking, of really stretching myself because of the type of mentor and support person that she is. It's just been a really beautiful journey to watch unfold. And she does it with such elegance. And like, this is not complicated. And sometimes just less is more. And so the ahas just kind of roll off because there's space for that to happen. Times through this work that I've really felt that shift of identity. I think the biggest thing for me stepping into that unapologetic alchemist was going to an event where I knew no one. And in the past, as much as I'm can be a social butterfly and all of those things, ask me what do I do, and I would freeze. And I would be just like having to have my notes by me and really worried about how I was going to be perceived. And I was able to just stand up in this room full of strangers, talk about who I am, what I do, and what I wanted to see shift in the world, just with authority, intention, and presence. And I was just so proud of myself in that moment. And that has really been a key shift. Now, that was kind of the tipping point. And then from there, ask me what I do. What am I up to? And I don't worry about what I'm going to say or need to say to please anybody or to quote unquote show up the right way. I'm just really showing up as me. Identity shifts I've really had and stepped into, in addition to just, being the unapologetic alchemist, is really thinking about myself as more of a thought leader, really stepping into what and sharing my beliefs and not being shy about it. Head out of the dials of the dashboard, so to speak, and into the windshield, like seeing things from a bigger perspective and how I can help create change by not just being in the doing, but just being that person in all ways, shapes, and forms. So that flows through my content. It flows through the things I'm creating and how I'm thinking about what I'm creating in my business. So there's just so much more intentionality. That's really the shift too and I'm all about strategy. I'm a strategist, and sometimes we can overthink the strategy and not be really present to the bigger picture. And that now is the strategy, staying in the windshield instead of in the task-oriented things. Like, how is this moving me, my business forward, my clients forward? What am I doing? And that has a ripple effect into my income, as well as how I feel in my business, which is so much more at ease. and so much more grounded. With Mindi, there's we really have focused on both and personal and professional. So when I started, I was struggling with just finding my way with my health and my, physical activity. And now I am back in a routine of doing something that I love, not because I'm shooting myself, but because I really I feel joy doing it. And so really tapping into that joy. Who do I want to be when I'm taking care of my body versus I shooting myself around, eating this or doing that. And so I physically have been, a different person and stepped into that next level of health and well-being. And also, there was some really challenging family stuff that's gone on in the time that I've worked with Mindi, and being able to be the human who's dealing with life and a business owner and finding ways to navigate that this time around because I had her support. This was not the first go around with this family situation, but this time I was able to use tools and have the support so that it wasn't draining the rest of my life and work and rolling into my business. And that was such a huge, huge gift and support to be able to have that. And from a business perspective, it's been just such a blessing. And the thing that I had said I wanted, stepping into my next level of, of visibility, of income, and all that continues to grow and flow. And it's just, it comes down to my original knowing that it was going to take the 5 inches between my ears, and that being the investment and focus this time strategically. And it has paid off, tenfold. Started working with Mindi, I never would have thought I could step into the kinds of prices that I'm now feeling are right for my business and for the value that I bring. And I never would have been able to say, oh, I'm going to charge X for this kind of support. And just knowing that I have that ability and that I can, and I truly, truly believe like this is the value of what I bring and this is worth every penny of that. And that having that knowing is huge. And recently I presented a new offer just in a group of peers. And one woman said before even the end of the conversation, she says, I'm 70% sold already. And it had nothing to do with, it just had to do with my belief in myself and what I had, the value of what I had to offer, and getting out of the how do I price things and is it worth it and will people pay that mindset, and really just stepping into this is the value of my work and this is how I choose to work. And there's no one way, there's just my way. And that has been really freeing and empowering, and something like I never a year ago would have thought, oh, I could, charge X for this service. I would have, bristled at that. And now I'm like, of course I am. If you're someone who is curious if working with Mindi is the right next step for you, for your business, I want you to know that this is not just mindset work. This is not manifestation work. This is deep rewiring of who you are. And so if you're ready to really choose your next level you, if you're really feeling like I've had enough of feeling stuck, feeling stifled, or I know at the time when I started, I was just feeling like I needed a hand up, and not just in the sense of I need somebody to open a door to make an introduction. That introduction was really up to my next level self, my next 24 karat outcome, and really believing that I could have, be, and achieve those things. And Mindy creates such a safe space, such a supportive container. And if you really want to be seen, held, and pushed and challenged, actually, it's really an invitation. She makes an invitation for you to tune into the best possible you. Then say yes to yourself, say yes to the opportunity, because it's truly where, in my opinion, our next level growth comes from. It's an inside job. It's a saying, but it's the truth. It is an inside job. And it takes support. It takes someone outside of ourselves. I have all the tools. I know how to do many of these things. And I need somebody to support me, hold me accountable, and let me see what's possible that I can't even see for myself. So I invite you to say yes to you and to really get curious about, finding out if Mindy's the right partner for the next phase of your journey.